Hey, everybody, and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We are a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your intrepid hosts, Joe Praska, and with me, as always, is
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
I jumped a little bit to say with me as always because you weren't with me last time.
I'm sorry about that. I left you hanging, and I promise you, as long as I live, I will try not to do that again.
Hey, it was a great episode still. I got lots of positive feedback, Khalid, so.
It was a great episode, honestly. I was nervous. I was like, wow, Joe's really just carrying this thing on his own. I always guessed I was the perfunctory one, but like now I feel more like an appendix than ever, you know? Like you can just lift me out.
Yeah, I guess I have to say I've gotten used to carrying this on my own.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. Seriously, no, you're the backbone. You're the heart. I'm the glue that holds the heart and the backbone together.
I don't think you understand how basic human anatomy works, that metaphor.
I mean,
there's no basic glue for that.
There's a bit of glue somewhere.
Is it just heart to backbone? Like there's nothing in between?
Yeah.
Awesome. I want to meet whatever horrifying creature you just made up.
I mean, it's a monster podcast, Khalid.
True. We're painting pictures here.
Yeah. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm great, man. Started a new job that's gonna go for a couple months, and it's good. You know, I actually have, for the first time in my life, my own office.
What?
Yeah, dude, I got an office.
What do you do with it?
Honestly, not much. Today I actually watched the episode we're going to talk about for a little bit. I just closed the door office. And I was like, don't got to worry about anything.
That is one nice thing about having an office is you can kind of just watch your stuff there when you close your door.
Yeah, so I technically share it with my boss, but he works from home most of the week, so I call it my office.
Do you have a place to put pictures?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, like a desk.
I'm going to send you a picture of me for it.
Just you, not even the family?
I mean, I'll send one of each.
All right, I'll make sure yours is the most prominently positioned.
All right, fair enough. Khalid, I got a question for you.
Hit me.
What happens, or what do you do if you're trying not to fall out of a bird of prey?
What do you do if you're trying not to fall out of a bird of prey?
Which is a ship in Star Trek.
Oh, okay. That helps. I don't know. What do you do?
You cling on.
God.
Oh, and that's a segue.
All right, so you're good to host the rest of this yourself, right? I'm just gonna go for a long walk.
That was a phenomenal segue. You butchered it by not knowing what I was talking about, but it was still pretty good.
Nobody knew what you were talking about.
I bet about several people do. Klingon bird of prey is what their ships.
Oh, if you say so.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is we're talking about Star Trek today. And before we go any further, I want to introduce our very special guest. Joining us is almost regular podcast guest and Friendenstein, regular guest, Nicole Praska, my wife, Trekkie expert, scientist, host of the Deep Space Love podcast. Welcome back, Nicole.
Thank you. I'm sure my giggles in the background were heard before I've made my entrance just now. So now it explains the mysterious laughter that was, I don't know,
permeating the background.
Thank you. I was looking for that word.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, he's here for that and really just groan-worthy jokes.
Yeah, they're the best.
I understood the bird of prey reference.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you're married to a Star Trek encyclopedia.
And she hosts the hit Star Trek podcast, Deep Space Love.
Fair enough. But for those of us who weren't lucky enough to marry you, Joe, it's it takes a little bit more like hand-holding with some of these references.
To be fair, Cleet hasn't watched as many episodes of Star Trek as we have, so...
That's true. He's not well-versed in ship mythology. At this point. It is not. You could do it.
No, I could not. I could just start on my 10-year journey of trying to out Star Trek you.
It depends on how often you watch it. I've seen some other Trekkies on Twitter who will be like, oh, I just got through the entire 7 seasons of Voyager in a month. And I'm like, oh my God, it took us 2 years. But it's because we spaced it out with other shows, which is probably what you'd be doing, which is why it would take so long.
Yeah.
You just have to commit.
I mean, commitment's kind of a gross word. I think we can all agree. He said to the happily married couple. But no, yeah, I like Star Trek. As we will get into with this episode, I always enjoy it when I watch it. It's something like a mental block that keeps me from wanting to like start like such an epic saga, let alone like where to start. But this is a great episode.
So, just a little bit of background for those of you listening. Today, as we're recording, today is actually Star Trek Day, which is the anniversary of the debut of the very first episode of the original series, which coincidentally is the episode we're talking about, which has a great monster in it. Most assuredly, you are probably not listening to this on Star Trek Day, but that's okay. You can still reflect on all the awesome Star Trek Day festivities that have been going on. So hopefully you're checking some of those out, panels and fun stuff, and probably cool news and trailer drops, but I'm not going to get into that yet because I don't quite know what's happening. But anyway, Star Trek Day is today. That means it was today in 1966. Thank you. When this episode, The Man Trap, debuted on TV the first time. This was not meant to be the pilot, but it was the one that aired first.
And that day is September 8th, for the record.
For the record, yep.
And we all knew that fact before Joe said it.
We all did, of course. Just wanted to clarify. Khalid, do you want to give us a description?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna,
all right, buddy. Jump on
hit up my homeboy Google. It's been a while, but I think I still got their number saved. So today we're going to talk about season 1, episode 1 of Star Trek: The Original Series, titled "The Man Trap," written by George Clayton Johnson, and the synopsis goes a little something like this. After landing on planet M113, the Enterprise is stalked by a creature which can assume the shape and form of anyone it chooses and which kills by removing the entire salt content of its victims' bodies. Done.
What a monster.
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
Awesome description, Khalid. Since you're sort of the one who's less versed in Trek than we are, Khalid, give us your thoughts.
I liked it. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where when I was younger, the pacing on older shows like the original series would like bug me just because like I'm used to like faster stuff, but because of like how fast like plotting and writing has gotten nowadays, like watching it was like really refreshing for me, where it just felt like there was like a lot of breathing room as far as like the beginning when they're walking through the planet, and even just ramping up to like what the actual like plot was and how it was going to go down. And it was also just really cool to see the original cast like bouncing off of each other, because while I say that I'm not the most well versed in Trek, I've still seen like a handful of episodes from like all of the other series, and the original series is the one that's like my biggest blind spot that I haven't had a reason to go back and revisit. So because of just pop culture and like referential stuff to the original series, I've heard of or seen all of these actors in one form or another, but to actually see them like where they kind of minted their legendary status was awesome. And that's all to say without even getting into the actual like plot, which was a really cool concept, especially like for me at least, like there isn't that novel energy to it where like I'm sitting there going like, oh yeah, this is like a new idea that I hadn't considered. I've seen variations of this, but I can totally see how back then it was probably like a crazy concept to introduce, and it was executed really well. The villain works, the stakes all make a lot of sense, and it I think what I liked the most about it was that it wasn't like a Kirk heavy episode. It was a very ensemble piece. So I got to see a lot of the characters shine that I might not in a episode that focuses more on like, say, Kirk and Spock.
Awesome. Nicole, what do you think?
I wonder if it's because of the less amount of time Cleta spent in the original series that I feel like he gave it a little bit more positive. I mean, it's memorable and kind of iconic, the Man Trap, but I don't think it's definitely not top tier Trek and not top tier TOS. We did kind of share a few thoughts right after we finished watching the episode together recently, Joe and I, but it was definitely early TOS where like it seemed like some details were still being ironed out. And actually this episode didn't get a whole lot of love when it initially aired. There's definitely some negative reviews that came out in like those first few weeks. And even looking back, I think that at one point I was reading Nimoy was talking about the episode. And so, yeah, there was like, I think this one was ready and filmed along with like 4 other episodes, I think. But this one was chosen by the network to be aired first because of various reasons. It was basically by process of elimination, apparently. So it wasn't like there was something special about this one that they wanted to put it out first, but it was just there were reasons they didn't want the other ones to be first. But I think Nimoy mentions that it wasn't the crew's favorite either. And they kind of, I don't know, not even just like the characters, but also like I think Spock is not quite fleshed out. There's kind of some inconsistencies with how he is played and portrayed and written in kind of the rest of TOS.
Do they retcon how salty he is?
A little bit. And also
They do.
well, not necessarily.
He can be salty, but I think like he's just much more emotional in this one than he really is later on.
It's kind of subtle, but like still like especially like, and I suppose we'll get to this towards the end, but like I feel we kind of both felt that he was the one who kind of reacted a little bit more emotionally at the end when the creature in question is essentially in the process of attacking Kirk, and he's like, McCoy, shoot it! Like it's killing the captain. Like he's kind of like freaking out when like in almost any other episode of TOS it'd be the other way around, where Bones is like, Spock, you gotta kill it, and Spock would be like, we can't just kill the last. Just like he would be like, we need to think this through before we kill the last creature of its kind. So we'll get into that when we talk about the creature. So we felt like that was, or I felt like that was a little bit of an inconsistency. And I think, yeah, maybe the ending is also kind of a bit of a disappointment. I feel like it doesn't really present the moral dilemma and gray area. Like there's not as much of a debate or humming and hawing about it, or, they're like, yeah, this is the last of his kind and her kind, I suppose. And then they're like, but it's killing us, so we got to like protect ourselves. And I don't know if that was really that doesn't really feel like it was like kind of Star Trek as it continued. I don't know. I mean, the creature is really fun. I kind of like, maybe some other people would disagree, but I kind of like how we don't see the creature's true form until the very end. And it is a pretty haunting image. I'm sure it was at the time, especially. I mean, obviously we've seen, in more modern times, like some creatures that are pretty intense comparatively, but I feel like, especially for the practical effects at the time, it's really cool. And I don't know. I mean, yeah, I just don't think it's top tier, but it's also not the worst that Star Trek has offered. So it's kind of in the middle for me as a Star Trek episode. What do you think, Joe?
I'm actually closer to Cleet on this one. I think this is a really good episode. Yeah.
Whatever.
The betrayal in her voice.
It's great. I mean, I really like this one. I think that, like Nicole said, though, there are elements that feel like it's written in the beginning, and so like there are pieces that aren't just ironed out that like Spock's reaction. I think that doesn't fit with the characterization later on. I don't think that's on Nimoy really. I think he still did a phenomenal job, but I think that this episode, comparatively to a lot of TOS episodes, gives a lot of other crew members, the main cast, a little bit moments to shine, which is really fun. Like we got way more Uhura in this than we do in some episodes. We get way more Sulu in this than some episodes. Bones, Spock, Kirk all get good stuff to do. Only one we don't see is Scotty, and Chekhov doesn't come till season 2, so that doesn't really count in that sense. But yeah, the lack of Scotty is a bit disappointing. But I feel like everyone like got moments, like Uhura like talking in Swahili to that guy when the salt vampire appears as someone from her memory. That was a really cool moment, just like kind of giving some depth to her character. Learning about Sulu's like botany thing that was interesting.
Also, the hint at a Spock and Uhura romance that kind of doesn't pan
in
out.
these early episodes, there's like hints that Spock and Uhura have like a little fleeting romance, or at least she's into him. And then they just kind of drop it after a few episodes, which is interesting because the new Abrams movies really picked up on that hard. But yeah, I don't know. I like a lot about it. I like. I think that like I said, it's not 100% ironed out, but I like. I think the moral dilemma is really well fleshed out in a sense. So I'm actually going to disagree with you a little bit. I think that this is Trek when it's trying to be Twilight Zone a little bit, and maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing depending on your perspective. But I feel like it shows how they're so confident at first that they're like, we got to kill this thing because it's a murderer. But at the end, like you left with that tag at the end where Kirk's like, just thinking about the buffalo, because they had that metaphor for the buffalo the whole time, like, oh, the decline of the species because of human interference. And he's like obviously shaken by what they end up having to do. And I think we're meant to leave with the fact that Kirk and maybe everyone else is just reflecting that maybe we didn't need to do that. And I have a lot written down about what I think some of the themes of this episode are meant to tell us. But again, yeah, I think that early Star Trek TOS was heavily Twilight Zone influence, where it was like trying to tell like a morality tale. And sometimes it wouldn't always go the way of the crew. And I think that was the case here.
Nice.
Thanks,
Yeah, I'm really good at discourse, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess my question for you, Joe, is why did you pick this episode versus one of the many others that feature creatures?
That's a good question, Khalid. I don't know. I just think that this. So there's I think 3 creatures from TOS that I really like in terms of monster-y creatures. There's this one. There's the Mugato, who just made a reappearance on Star Trek Lower Decks, which was really fun. And there's the Gorn, which is the famous one from Arena. And that's a really famous episode and very well known. But I think out of those 3, I think the Mugato might be a pretty cool costume, but I think the episode is not very good. I think Arena is a fantastic episode, but it's super well known and there's been heavy discourse around it already. I think this one fell somewhere in the middle where I think there hasn't been a lot said about it. And I also think that this is a fun one to bring up, given that it's Star Trek Day, because it was the first one that debuted. So there's a little different pieces to that. I think the design of this creature, which we'll get into later on, is really striking, especially for a show like a sci-fi adventure show presenting this right away, like almost horror elements. Like it's a scary looking creature for the era, you know, and there are some there's like this murder mystery element, and I think it's just some cool. It's some cool like genre stuff that these older shows were able to kind of throw into their sci-fi adventure wagon train to the stars kind of deal. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess for me, the only confusing part was this the pilot when it aired? Like,
so yeah, it's the first one that ever aired. It wasn't meant to be the pilot. There was an original unaired pilot called The Cage, and that had like Captain Pike on the Enterprise, but the network said no. So they went back and reshot and did this whole thing with William Shatner and got rid of a lot of that cast. They kept like a few, like Nimoy, which, you know, Star Trek fans will know they actually end up taking the Cage and editing it back into the show in like a 2-parter later on. So it's technically canon that, Pike was on the Enterprise before Kirk, you know, which we all know well, all of us who watch Discovery as well. But then I think the one that was supposed to air first is, another episode. I can't remember what the name of it now is. I should know that one. It's a different one. They have slightly different uniforms with heavier turtlenecks, and some of the crew is not quite there. But that one aired after this one technically, so it's a weird thing that we watched the Man Trap with the uniforms we know and love. Then it goes to this one with weird uniforms that feels like slightly different, and then it goes and starts being normal again. You know.
Wow.
So yeah, it's weird. The networkers are weird. They just kind of threw stuff out there. I feel like at the time, you know, and just whatever stuck.
I would have.
Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Oh yeah, that's the one that was supposed to be the remade pilot, was Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Yeah, I would. I can only imagine what people made of this show just based on like this is their introduction to it back then.
Right.
I will say I did love that this episode really just kind of like solidifies that like this is a horny crew. you know?
It really
Like,
is.
this is a very like lustful crew, based on how much headway the salt monster made, getting through that ship. Like, just you could like set your watch to it. Like every 5 minutes, there's just like a longing, like thirsty look from like a crew member. Starting with that guy that I feel like in later seasons would have just been a red shirt, but he was wearing, I think, he was wearing like a blue shirt or something, hanging out outside the rock, and like that girl starts talking to him, all the way up to like Uhura, that like she makes like this like Swahili dreamboat up in her mind, like not even like a real person. That was awesome. I was like, wow, she's that horny.
Yeah, they even have like recurring like horny music. Like it's like I don't even know how it goes, but it's like that. And then they like zoom in and like have that soft focused on the faces.
Yeah, and the salt monster is not doing that much to like seduce them. Like, that's the other funny thing about all of this for me, was this like, this is like the worst like undercover monster ever. Like every time he like inhabits another person's appearance, like he just walks in and it's like the worst representation of that person, just like stiff and awkward and like can't stop making eye contact with people for way too long. What did you guys think of it?
Ironically, I just wanted to point out I feel like Kirk is the least horny in this episode. Like even McCoy is,
That is
got
such a
these feelings for his old flame, and Kirk is the only one who's like, "We're here for business."
That's
So,
a great point. That's such a missed opportunity that they didn't like capitalize on. Like Kirk would be the horniest. I mean, I know they were still figuring out all the characters and how they would like represent like that character, but that's a missed opportunity for sure. Good point.
yeah, the shape shifting aspect of the creature is interesting as well. And I'm not. I mean, it's. I feel like the appearance of the creature, once its true form is revealed at the end, is much more striking. But it's interesting how not only is it this like, it's been dubbed the salt vampire, but it's also a shape shifting, or at least image shifting, creature as well. On top of that,
Yeah, it's got a lot of interesting attributes. Yeah, I mean, I think it's super interesting creature, which is another one I think it was a fun one to talk about. I do wanted to talk a little bit about like the sort of theme or morality play here. So like it's obviously, like a specieside thing, like sort of like hunting or killing something the last of its kind, and like what that means and like the stakes of that. So I think to Nicole's point earlier, that you were saying like it feels a little bit frustrating that they kind of came to this conclusion that we got to kill it right away, right? That was sort of I would agree that I feel like Kirk was like on the like let's kill it train very fast, and he wasn't really willing to listen to like, oh, we got to preserve it. I think that normally another thing with like Spock's character later on would have been more of the foil to that point. That's something we would have seen in later episodes. He would have been like, but is it really moral to do this? Like, even if it's done this thing, isn't it just doing what it's supposed to do? Sort of deal. So he would have made that case, and I feel like that wasn't really made by anyone on the crew, unfortunately.
I don't think so either. And I feel like it's interesting that the reason Dr. McCoy doesn't want to, why he has feelings for it, is because it had spent so much time in the form of his former girlfriend or partner. Also, another aspect to it is like, I mean, we keep talking about it as, I mean, it is, we're talking about it as a creature feature monster, on this podcast, but like, I mean, it certainly seems sentient. So, I mean, that's another aspect too. I mean, it's not just like, I don't know, I guess what do you think, Joe, I guess? And like, what were your thoughts, Khalid, as you watched? It seems to have sentience to me. It's not simply an animal that is like going after like base desires. It seems to have a higher order of thinking, maybe not, quite the same, but so I feel like that's also something that would have come into play in a different episode if this had been done differently, like sort of more of the discussion about the creature's like intelligence and empathy level, and like kind of where it is on the spectrum of sentience, I suppose. And like, I feel like it's more sentient than a lot of animals than other creatures. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's a good question. I definitely have some thoughts. Khalid, what do you think?
I guess for me, it's kind of up there with like a baby, if that makes sense, in the sense that babies just give off that like pheromone or whatever that makes you as a grown human want to take care of it and like make sure it's okay. And like a part of that is also like its appearance and stuff like that. I feel like this creature probably would fall under that same category where like I don't know that it's like unless at some point they mention that it's telepathic or something. I don't even know that it knows what image it's projecting half the time, so much as like it's some kind of like chemical that like makes other people like lower their defenses and see something that would like make them be attracted to it, and he just goes with it until he can get close enough to like consume them.
But also, it sneaks onto the ship by doing that. I feel like that's like a step above, like simply, I don't know.
I mean, it's just like it probably
Like a
just
simple
smells all
reflex.
the
Like there's
it
thought
smells all the
behind that.
salt. Like it's very clear. Like they clearly show like the thing that he's like following around is like that salt shaker.
But
So it's like
yeah,
it's almost like a kid just like following like the smell of like a Cinnabon in a mall. Like I don't know how smart you are so much as like you just went until the smell was its strongest.
I don't know. I feel like on the planet though, like it basically makes the decision to turn into the crewmate or to project the image of the crewmate that it just killed in order to get onto the ship. I mean, I don't know. Although I guess it does sort of panic and end up killing Doctor, or is it Doctor or Mr. Crater? The
Professor, Dr.
Professor.
Crater. Dr.
Yeah.
Crater.
Who was basically taking care of it all this time. So I don't know. But I mean, that doesn't necessarily, I feel like that, I don't know. I count that
it's
against
probably
it.
smarter than like a baby, but I don't think it's like as smart as an adult.
That's a good point. But I think that even if you're not smart as an adult, like sentience, you could still be sentient, I think, right? Like a child is still sentient.
Yeah.
But like, no, I think it's a good question though. Like I think when I was watching the episode, I had been thinking that
I'm also not advocating that a being needs to be sentient in order to be like preserved, but
yeah,
something that didn't come up.
My compassion for something isn't limited to my estimation of its intelligence. What's that from? It's from Star Trek 4, by the way.
Oh, okay, whales. Cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
they saved the whales.
They couldn't
save this creature.
Couldn't. I think when I was watching it, I had thought maybe it sort of like had sort of like skills similar to almost like a parrot, where it was telepathic, but it was taking those like mental images that it was receiving and kind of just parroting it back to like what people wanted to see. So that's sort of what I thought. But I don't know. Like I think that it might be more I think the writers may have intended it to be more intelligent than we might be giving it credit for. So I don't know. So I guess I can't really say. I think that I don't know. Yeah, I think that's a really good question to ponder.
Scientifically, though, I mean, because we're talking about science fiction here, I'm sort of curious as to how or why it would even have this ability to begin with, considering like on this planet, there was supposedly deposits of salt or some sort of source of salt that was not contained within the body of a human or some other being. That was my understanding. And so, like, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, kind of the evolutionarily, like, why would it have adapted this mimicry ability in the first place? I don't know. That's just a sciencey question I have. That's all.
It could have been a defense mechanism initially. Like, it was not initially a predator, and if it was being hunted, like being able to turn into something that the predator was attracted to could help them escape.
Touche. Okay.
That could be. That lends credence to the fact that it's like kind of almost extinct and maybe it was being hunted.
Yeah.
I kind of have a thought about that though. Like I think that a lot of the sort of the design of the creature as a concept is sort of like, I mean, the buffalo metaphor is a little on the nose. I mean, at the time when this aired, the buffalo or the American bison actually had like a strong resurgence in population. So like they weren't diminishing at this time when this aired, but like that was sort of like the biggest image in like collective pop culture knowledge that would be like evoke extinction, at the time. But despite that, there was a lot of like like accelerated extinctions going on and mass extinctions going on due to like human interference, like specifically like human things. But like I feel like this episode is kind of showing us what kind of like westward expansion or even like colonialism looks like, in that like humans, like certain humans, come and like destroy this creature by virtue of it just being there and just being and doing what it does. And it shows like, oh, this expansion, did we really need to do it? Did we really need to go to this planet and do this? Because now suddenly we're incompatible, and because we have this technology, or we deem that we're better, we're going to take it out because we need to exist still, even though we didn't really need to go there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that there's an element of that to it. And I think like, I don't know, sort of that might be by design to show like there's like this incompatibility between that creature existing and like what the sort of utopia society of Star Trek tries to portray, like also existing simultaneously alongside it. They're trying to show like there's always like this sort of theme throughout the series about like the final frontier, pushing that frontier. And then like, I think we saw in Beyond where he's like, oh, the frontier pushes back, like they're kind of like this warring notion of like, should we be out here, or what are we doing out here? And I think that was supposed to lead into that theme.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, that's some of my thoughts on it. I think we're talking a lot about the monster here. I think should we just monster it up?
Let's monster it up.
Yeah, Nicole, do you want to monster it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want everyone on board for the monstering it up. Yeah.
I'm just
you just taking a quick poll, quick tally.
What if I had said no? I mean, what would we have done?
I would have paused and probably been not sure what to say next. So, okay. So for those of you listening, I'm most of you maybe clicked on this would hopefully have seen an image of the creature, but I have a kind of a description from Memory Alpha, which is one of the kind of like wiki sites for like all Star Trek information. So so basically the creature has like brownish skin, purple highlights, yellow eyes. The face has a series of sagging folds that together with the cast of its eyes give it a sort of sad appearance. It has a mouth, which was kind of an inverted snout, within which were several extremely sharp teeth. The body was covered with a string-like whitish hair and wore a brown net-like garment, which I don't quite understand the net that it wore. Like it didn't really seem like it needed clothes. I don't know. Maybe that leads to some credence to the idea of like it might have been more like intelligent, has clothes. But the net thing was odd. It also has 3 fingers each with 3 suction cup-like feeding organs it used to extract all the salt from its prey. So basically, as we mentioned throughout this episode so far, it needs salt to survive. So when it didn't have like these just regular salt to feed off of, which is what Dr. Crater was requesting from the Enterprise, it would actually like go after people and remove all the salt from their body and kill them that way. And so at first, like Dr. McCoy didn't know like why this person died. They were like, oh, it was a poisonous plant. But they're like, well, this is weird. He should be healthy otherwise. But they're like, oh, he has no salt in his body anymore. That's how he's dead.
Okay, wait. Going back to the sentience thing, isn't it like the creature as Nancy Crater, who is like, oh, he ate this plant, that's why he's dead.
Oh yeah, it lies. Yeah,
it
lies.
Lying is a very high level order of thinking.
That's a great point.
So
again, I
think anyway,
I don't know that the salt monster knows what it's saying. I literally think it's just projecting an image, and the image is saying whatever like will like calm a person down or turn them on. You know what I mean?
It obviously put the leaf in the guy's mouth. He was like, oh, look at this. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, this isn't the hill I'm going to die on. I just like the idea of it being a dumb monster that has like a really sophisticated defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So
we weren't recording. I would just keep arguing with Khalid, but we can move on.
I can tell you were working hard to hold your tongue there. Yeah, it was impressive. I think it's also interesting too, like describing what the creature looks like. I read that it was like intentionally meant to look like kind of sad, like it was given this like sort of like sad look to sort of like counter with like sort of the also horrific sort of appearance, like the scary element of it. And I think that's supposed to sort of give weight to the notion that it's not an evil. It's not an evil. It's sort of just doing its thing too. I
mean, didn't we only kind of see it for a little bit at the very end there?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it looked sad. But like, I just don't have like a frame of reference for like it looking happy or mad. Like maybe that's just how his face is set.
I mean, I think that's the point. The face is just set there, but I feel like it's got this sort of like droopy sort of gaze,
Puppy dog eyes.
puppy dog eyes. And I feel like maybe I know that we know this more because I've watched this episode so many times and seen this creature so much. But I feel like it just has this sort of like, like sad look. It's my sad voice.
So the costume of this creature was designed by, I hope I don't butcher this name, but as I read it, it looks like Hua Chang. Chang used a modified gas mask as the creature's mouth, apparently, according to Memory Alpha costume trivia. So that kind of gives you a sense of it. You can see that once you're looking at the face of the creature, that it looks like someone was wearing a gas mask that's been sort of modified,
repurposed. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a cool point. So Hua Chang actually he's a Hawaiian like prop and like creature designer who was pretty prominent in that era, but he did a lot of the Star Trek like alien design sometimes. I think he did the Gorn as well. Did you read any of you guys read who was actually in the suit?
No, who is it?
It's actually a dancer and stunt woman by the name of Sandra Gimple. There's actually a pretty cool pictures online if you look up the salt vampire creature of her like with the head off, just kind of like hanging out in the suit. But she played a Telosian on the original pilot too, so a different alien. So she's been on Star Trek before. So it's kind of cool. She actually did a really cool interview with StarTrek.com back in 2017 that I'll link in the show notes if you guys want to read some more from her. But I thought one thing that I thought was kind of funny is she talked about like some of the most memorable parts of this episode was when she just got to like put her hands all over William Shatner's face with like the suction cups. She's like, I just kept touching Shatner.
Man, that was some top-notch acting from our boy Bill Schatz. When he's screaming. yeah, our boy Bill Schatz.
Boy Bill.
Just like because like the monster already touched him at one point, and I don't remember him screaming. And then like the second time, like he's trying really hard to make it seem like it hurt. And I guess like I don't know. Because when it ate the other people or like depleted them of their salt, was there shouting? I couldn't remember.
I don't think so. It was pretty quiet because like they just found a bunch of the other people dead. Yeah,
and it's like there's like nobody else on that planet. So like if they're screaming for dear life, the sound's probably gonna like travel. So so I feel like that was just like a in the moment decision from Shat. Like he was just like, let's do it. I'm screaming.
I love it. I like the choice though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. If anything, like you got to say in Star Trek, he gave it his all. Like he was acting hard, even when very clearly he's acting hard.
Oh yeah, he was playing to the cheap seats.
Yeah. I also think it was kind of funny how like the creature like attacks Spock at one point, but like doesn't do much with it. And they like talk about how like Spock's blood doesn't taste good to it.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. Like he's not as salty. Like it's like,
that you were like, I was thought you just God, wow, I completely missed your pun and I'm really disappointed in myself because I love puns.
Yeah, I am a wordsmith, Joe. Please appreciate it.
No, that's good. Like so I was like just going like, salty isn't like sassy because he was pretty sassy in this one.
Yeah, no, I meant he's literally not like as salty because he didn't he say something? He's like the Vulcans came out of a different ocean.
Yeah, like with something like more copper in their blood or something. It was like
what
was it? Oh, copper-based blood salts from Vulcan. Yeah.
I guess whatever that means. I don't know.
It's science. It's science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also, okay, scientifically, again, we're just saying like salt. I mean, salt is not only sodium, what we call sodium chloride, like table salt. I mean, there are many different like combinations of molecular atoms that are like considered salts. So
like Himalayan pink salt.
Sort of.
Right.
Sort of. But so like the idea of like, it just wants the salt. I mean, like, yeah, again, in humans, that would be like in our bodies, like that would be like sodium chloride. But the way that like the way that salt dissociates in our bodily fluids once we ingest it is, whatever. There's a lot of science going on and it's okay. I'm going to let it go. But I just kind of wanted to point that out because I'm like the scientist here.
All right. Well, you are the scientist, so I gotta ask, what kind of cholesterol you think that monster's working with? If it's an entirely sodium-based diet,
Yeah, I don't know. That's
it's gotta be through the roof, right?
yeah,
Like,
probably.
if the phasers didn't work, you could probably just like challenge it to a foot race and watch it drop.
And I also wonder if if it was exposed to water, whatever. I don't know. There's there's a
Does
lot.
it drink water?
I don't know. It didn't look like there's a lot of water on that planet.
No.
I feel like people have pointed this out before, though. I mean, like, sort of like, I don't know, like a human body being like the most crave-worthy like version of like salt that this creature would. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily. Oh, it doesn't seem to add up. I feel like I've seen people point that out. It's kind of a little bit of like a plot contrivance. I would agree, but again,
Sorry, wait. What's the plot contrivance?
the idea that like the salt in a human body would be like the most desirable, or like that it's so plentiful that like that's the only source that this creature.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's like how in the Matrix, like they try to argue that like a human would make like a great battery for a robot, and it's like they would not generate enough energy for like farming them to be worth it.
Yeah, just something to make the humans relevant to the story.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you would just, if you were a robot, you would just build really good batteries. You wouldn't just like drain a human.
Yeah. I wanted to circle back just gently, if unless you had more to say with that, Nicole.
No, that's basically all I have.
I want to circle back to when you said crave-worthy, and I wanted to say, Khalid, that bears are sometimes crave-worthy.
Oh my god.
That's not a segue if you have to circle back to the thing that you're going to jump off of.
And I put a mental pin on that, so I wanted to come back to it.
What you can make up whatever term you want for it. I'm just explaining to you how segues work.
No, I mean, I don't know if you understand, but it's okay. Speaking of bears, Khalid, shall we move into the 4 bears test?
Sure. So 4 bears test, for those of you who don't know, I just asked the silly, sometimes interesting question. What would happen if you replaced the monster we're talking about with 4 bears? Does it change the story in any way, or does it stay the same? So for this one, it's a pretty clear fail on just about every level. Like it's a like bears can't look like an attractive person to you. Bears.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, if you're already inherently attracted to bears, then yeah, that kind of works. But like, the bear isn't turning into a bear for you to be attracted to. It just looks like that. They also, bears do not subsist entirely on salt, so I don't think that they would get as much out of like that kind of a hunt. And yeah, this creature was not very strong. It seemed like it was like a pseudo hypnosis that it was subduing its prey with after a certain point. Where
it actually was pretty strong. It like knocked Spock across the room. Remember that?
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so maybe it is as strong as like a bear. I don't think it was like 4 bears strong though. Like,
just remember when Spock was like slapping her in the face and just like doing nothing?
It wasn't even slapping. Like he was doing that weird like old school stage fighting thing where like he like clasps his fists together and just like hauls off into the monster's face. Which that just seems like such an exhausting and ineffective way to fight. If we can just like do a quick aside, like you're not defending yourself in any way. Like as soon as you swing and miss, somebody just has like full reign over your head and body because both of your arms are like outstretched.
Double fist punches are a staple of Star Trek, just so you know.
I guess, but like again, like
fight of the future.
Like if you went into a boxing match and tried to like clasp your hands together and like fight somebody, you'd go down fast. That's my only point. But yeah, back to the 4 bears test. I don't think it passes, like even being generous, I don't think it passes a single criteria except maybe strength. But that being said, like I don't think if 4 bears got on a ship, like they might be able to knock around the crew, but like they're not going to like pull the espionage thing that this creature did, where it was like talking with all kinds of bridge crew and walking wherever. So yeah, it's a fail for me, dog.
All right, there you have it. Fair enough.
I concur.
I would too.
Speaking of concurring, Joe, or something.
Yeah, it's not up to par for me, but we'll go with it. Speaking of concurring, Khalid, would you fight or would you flirt with the salt vampire?
This is also a pretty easy one for me. I would flirt. Are you kidding me? Like, that doctor dude seemed to make it work. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally going to look like whoever you're most attracted to. And it sounds like if you just give it a steady supply of salt, they'll stay looking like that person. And it's not even like one of those things where it's like a mirage or whatever. Like, I think at times, like, he's like, it's the creature's like anatomically the person they're inhabiting, you know? So I like, yeah, what? Like, it's I'm not gonna try and fight it. Like, if a double fist punch from Spock didn't do it, like, I'm screwed. So like at that point, yeah, I'm gonna run to CVS and get as many salt tablets as I can, and I'm gonna make this thing work. So yeah, that's my final answer. The easiest flirt I think I've ever had on this show.
Nice. 100% agreed with everything you said.
Thank you. How about you, Nikki?
Yeah, I don't think I would fight it. I don't know if I like, not necessarily for the same reasons like Khalid voiced, but
Whatever. If it like could just look like a hunky dreamboat and you didn't have to worry about it ever again beyond that, like that's a win-win. Are you kidding me? You save an endangered species, you get a hot partner. Like who's mad?
I guess Joe would be mad in that sense.
I assume the salt monster killed Joe in this scenario.
Oh, well, that changes things.
Yeah,
That's fair then, right? Fair game.
Fair game.
Exactly. Like you're a widow at that point. Like you got to get back out there
with a salt vampire.
Exactly.
Just looks like somebody. Okay.
It's self-preservation too. I mean, that's how you survive.
It was so strange that the monster, he had basically had it. I mean, was it implied that it killed Crater's wife or not? It was like said explicitly.
He said that. Yeah. I mean, that's the exact same situation Clede's talking about. It killed his wife, but he didn't blame it because he was like, oh, it's just kind of doing what it needed to do.
Yeah, but I still feel like it's weird that the creature took on Nancy's form and he was just like, yeah, I'm cool with that. Like, I feel like if it killed you, I'd be like, don't look like Joe. That'd be weird.
Are we led to believe that the creature, like once Crater was being nice to the creature, it like felt bad and was like, this is what I could do to make up for it? Like that one episode of TNG where the like ghost aliens became that kid's mom?
Well, that contradicts my it's a baby theory. So,
it does.
So I'm going to say no, but that's a good theory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to consider, a lot to unpack in this episode, huh?
Yeah. Is it a baby? Is it not?
Yeah, the big question. So, any of you Friendensteins that want to chime
Brendan
in on
what?
that, Friendensteins, I said, who want to chime in on that? Come with the "Is it a baby? Is it not a baby?" question, and at Khalid with that.
For the record, it is a baby. I will not hear anything to the contrary. Don't waste your time.
Before we do move on to something else, I wanted to say I really love every time I watch the TOS episode. I'm always I love the aesthetics of these old episodes. Like the retro futuristic like elements of the ship and all that are really cool. But when they go to planets and it's just this like purpley orange landscape or like purple rocks everywhere or like, like just like that, like these bright colors that just sparkle. They like everything's sparkly too.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like there's just nothing that's really captured that since then. And it's just so fun to watch for me.
I do like it. I mean, it all goes back into like what I was saying at the top of the episode. It's the kind of stuff that when I was a kid, I would have like rolled my eyes at for being like so like lo-fi and DIY in so many ways. But like I'm just impressed now like what they were able to do back then.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, now it looks cheesy sometimes, but I think it's kind of fun to marvel at like what they threw together.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Quick shout out to the arboretum, the plant scene Where with Sulu and Uhura. Right?
Oh,
no,
God.
no,
No,
wasn't
Sulu
Uhura,
and
Rand.
Janice
My bad.
Rand, Yeoman Rand, who's only in a couple episodes and then cameos in some of the movies.
And
Oh, you talking about
the,
with that puppet
the
plant?
puppetry, the
puppet
puppet
plant.
plant. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was great.
Beauregard.
Beauregard or Gertrude, I think, was the other name.
Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
that was that fun little scene. Again, it was kind of like small moments in this episode, like that one that are also pretty memorable, but that don't get they're not at the forefront when you think about this episode. But I don't know, it's nice.
Yeah, it's fun to know that Sulu's got his own Audrey too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. Feed me.
Yeah. Fun fact also, aside from that, the actress who played Janice Rand is one of the few Star Trek actors that I've met in person.
Oh,
Yeah, she was at a convention when I went as a child with my dad. I went and we met her and I got an autograph from her. So fun fact.
Grace Lee Whitney.
Grace Lee Whitney, yeah.
Wow. Well, shout out to you, Grace. Thanks for making a young Joe's dreams come true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She
is no longer with us, but we could still give her a nice shout out.
Yeah, this is a posthumous shout out.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you could always bump into Bill Schatz. That's
True.
still on the table.
He's still kicking.
Yeah,
we almost did run into.
We literally almost ran into him. Yeah, we went to see a show like years ago. This was like more than maybe 10 years ago. I'm not sure.
Not quite.
It was at the Orpheum in Minneapolis. He was doing like a one-man show where he's just talking about life. Like he just sat on stage just talking about his life and whatever he wanted to chat about. But we were taking pictures under like the marquee, and apparently he just like walked right past me behind, and I don't know. I wish would have said something, but he was just right there.
I'll be honest. He could walk right past me, and I probably wouldn't notice.
I feel like not many people did. Like I don't know. I think he walked into a bar like next door.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's probably shorter than I think too.
He was.
So like it's just a bunch of stuff that like in person would like be jarring for me, and I wouldn't acknowledge it at first.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, you recognize him like a con setting or something, but like I don't know.
I was not. I think I'm the one who noticed. I think I was like trying to elbow you. So kind of like, do we like say something? I don't know. Like those kind of encounters when like you're not expecting them are so awkward because I'm like, I don't want to like bug someone who's just going about their day. But
I mean, that's why you needed me there, because we both know I would have shouted, Bill!
Yeah.
Billy Schatz!
Yeah, you weren't there.
Yeah. So
next time, Khalid.
Yeah. I'm your ticket to meeting one of your icons.
All right. Should we move on to our final segment?
Let's do it.
All right, folks listening, our final segment of the show is our one-of-a-kind patented What the Fandom section. I say section a lot. I mean segment. I don't know why I say section, but What the Fandom segment. The idea is that we're going to go around and share one or two things, sometimes we embellish, that we're kind of into at the moment that may or may not have anything to do with monsters or the topic at hand, which in this case is Star Trek. So it could be anything you want, just something that we think you fans of you Friendensteins would like.
Yeah, nice, Joe.
Thanks for acknowledging that I got it right.
I had to think about it for a second. Thought like I'm used to you like saying it wrong the first time, and I was like, wait, no, that is right.
Yeah. Anyway, so things you might dig. Khalid, take it away.
So yeah, it's been a few weeks. So the thing that my What the Fandom this episode is it's going to be the new Marvel series What If. I'm really digging it. It's kind of uneven as far as like quality. Like there are some episodes that have just like floored me with how good they are, and then there are others that I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, there hasn't been a bad one in the bunch yet, which has been great. As of this recording, they've done, I think, 5 episodes. Is that right, Joe?
I believe so. Yeah, 5 at this point.
Yeah. So the 5th one just dropped today, actually, the day we're recording, and it was also pretty cool. And I just love it because they keep getting the actual voice actors for the most part. Like the voice actors are the actors from the MCU. So like, there's something really cool about how all these cool like one-off ideas and weird things that they can do with these characters that they're just not going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars like making like live action. it's fun to be able to see it on this like smaller scale. And then I say smaller scale, but with the animation, like they're even more unlimited with what they could do. So yeah, if you're even a casual fan of the MCU, it's not too hard to keep up with like the concept of the show. It's literally just, what if something went different in the universe that we understand it, and it sent our heroes on wildly different journeys. And yeah, like I'm really excited to keep watching it. I don't know that it would like even be like one of my top favorite of the Marvel shows that have dropped on Disney Plus, but it's been keeping up that tradition of like Marvel TV is now like up to par with the movies if you're a big fan of that. So and Chadwick Boseman, one of the last roles he did before he unfortunately passed, was with What If. And yeah, like it's really cool to, if you were missing him and like sad that like that was like the last iteration of him as T'Challa was going to be in like, what was it? I guess technically Infinity War and Endgame, but really Black Panther. If you're bummed that was the last time you get to see him as that character, this is a really great way to revisit that. So that's my fandom.
Agreed. I'll second that one. I think it's been a surprisingly fun one. Nikki and I have been kind of enjoying. It drops Wednesday nights, and so we actually watched it on Thursday nights as like kind of a animation back to back with Star Trek Lower Decks, which drops Thursdays as well. Thursday, so it's been kind of a fun thing to do each week. Something to look forward to. So some good shows. But yeah, how about you, Nikki?
My What the Fandom this time is going to be a movie that Joe and I recently watched. We try to do movie nights on the weekend, or a movie night on the weekends. And not last week, but the week before that, we watched the 2020 movie Spontaneous, starring Charlie Plummer and Catherine Langford, about, well, the tagline is an explosive love story, but it's essentially a coming of age love story set in a high school class where students begin literally exploding spontaneously. And so it's the two main characters. I don't remember the names of the characters. It's been a couple weeks, but sort of living in the moment and recognizing your mortality and a lot of other things. So yeah, I think people should check it out, because I'm not sure that, I feel like it kind of got passed over, especially with things being released, on streaming. Although maybe it was meant to be on streaming initially. I don't remember it was going to get a wider release, but where did we watch it? Remind me.
Hulu.
Hulu, yeah.
Hulu, yeah. So find that on Hulu, Spontaneous from 2020. Check that out. It was surprisingly good. Not surprisingly. I didn't know what to expect, but I was very impressed with it at the end. And so I want to recommend it.
Both challenged and surpassed expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that on the DVD cover.
There we go. Quote from us.
Yeah.
All right. I also second that one. I'm gonna second all of your What the Fandoms too. But my What the Fandom this week, I'm gonna give a shout out to the show Final Space, which I've been watching on HBO Max, but I think it airs on TBS. It's like a half-hour animated comedy sci-fi show that I've been watching, but it's what I thought was just going to be like a silly thing to throw in the background has really engaged me a lot more. It's a space opera, sci-fi. I feel like it kind of gets lumped into the categories with like Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites and those kinds of sci-fi shows. But this one is a really, really distinctly different feel. And it's much more earnest and has much more heart than those shows. There's like a lack of nihilism, I think. And it feels almost more in line with as being like a spiritual successor to like a Futurama type show for me. And the voice cast is really fun. The writing is pretty sharp. David Tennant plays the villain, which is a really fun role for him. I don't know. I've been surprisingly impressed. I've been really impressed with like the twistiness of the plot and how like intricate and kind of epic in scope it's getting as it progresses. So like you watch the episodes, they all follow a singular narrative, and so it's really fun. Surprising for me. I think it actually just ended its run, but there's a couple seasons on HBO that if you want to watch it, I would highly recommend it. Final Space, a lot of fun. So that is my What the Fandom for this week.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks, Khalid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would second that to keep that going, but I've yet to see it despite your many recommendations. I promise I will get to it.
I always recommend you to watch things.
You do. And I'm like 50-50 on if I actually get around to it. But when I do, you're always right.
Usually if I start a podcast on the topic, you'll watch it then.
Yeah, usually. Just out of courtesy. Professional courtesy.
Professional courtesy.
Cool. Well, Nikki, thank you so much for joining us. As usual, it is always a fun discussion with you on.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here anytime.
Awesome. Yeah. And
be sure to check out Deep Space Love, Nikki's hit Star Trek podcast.
Our hit Star Trek podcast. It's our Star Trek podcast.
Joe, are you on that? I thought that was like a Nikki thing.
I guest appear.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah. He's
the brains behind it.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, check out Nikki's podcast. And thank you for listening to another episode of Frankenstein's podcast. We really appreciate all you guys listening and showing us love. And yeah, if you want to show us more love, please subscribe to our podcast and give us a good old 5-star review because we would really appreciate that. But until next time, creep it easy.